The 2016 Pirelli World Challenge GTS Series enters its final 3 rounds at a road racing gym just west of Salt Lake City, Utah. The championship chase is about to get down and dirty because it's a high elevation duel in the desert, and it starts now. Eight times previously, the Pirelli World Challenge has come to Miller Motorsports Park. Its 9th visit is now to Utah Motorsports campus, and today it is our coverage of rounds 14 and 15 of the Pirelli World Challenge GTS Championships. It's the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix at Utah Motorsports campus, presented by EnergySolutions. Hi everybody, I'm Greg Kramer, delighted to be joined as usual by Calvin Fish. Cal, let's just get to it, move into our storylines. This championship battle is getting so intense, but one of the stories here that people sometimes don't really think about too much, is qualifying all that valuable? Oh yeah.
Well, when you look at the championship standings right now, they split the events at Mid-Ohio, Sandberg and Oschenbach. Sandberg leads by 22 points coming into here, but he's had 7 poles. That's 49 points. That's a 42-point swing on Lawson Oschenbach. If he hadn't had those, he'd be 20 points behind. So is qualifying important? You bet it is.
And secondly, the guy that comes in third in the points, Parker Chase, he's been quick, but he's a gem in the raw, if you will, at only 15 years of age. Well, the Ginetta team, Performance Motorsports Group, went to the factory and said, give us some help, and boy did they find the right guy.
Well, this weekend, Greg, they brought in their factory driver, Michael Simpson, to do some testing with the car this weekend. As we've said before, Parker Chase, if he's going to challenge for this championship, he's got to start winning. He's got to start getting the big points away from Oschenbach and Sandberg. Well, they've tuned on the race cars this weekend. Both of the Ginetta boys are very fast here.
And they needed to be, because our third storyline is qualifying. And Cal, this was an unknown this year coming into this, how it was going to work. Now we come to a place at elevation. It can't be closer, not just to the top 2 or 4, top 7.
It's unbelievable. 4 cars separated at the front of the grid by 0.08 of a second. Top 7 by 0.3 is going to be a very tight race today.
Exceptional, and boy, did they get it right with this whole unknown of the GT4 cars this year. It's been delightful. And of course, as usual, this is a double-header weekend, so we've already had round 14 of the championship. We want to go back and have a look at it with our Kia Rewind. And as the field came up for the start, Cal, a ridiculously close grid.
Well, the top 4 separated by a mere 0.09 of a second.
And as that flag flew, everybody fanned out. Scott Heckert from pole led them away. The top 7 were covered by less than 0.3 of a second. It showed at the start 5 abreast down this front straight, and a big move by Dullahite and Barkey to the inside, Cal, but Heckert controlled it beautifully.
Watch this, Anthony Mantella goes to the outside as well and makes it stick. He moves up to the 3rd position immediately.
And that was just a portent of what was to come. Watch this move by Mantella, Cal.
So strong on the brakes. Looked like he's just going for second. He almost grabbed the lead there. Surprising Scott Heckert as well.
The KTM crossbows, the deeper the race went, seemed to get quicker. Martin Barkey makes a move on young Harry Gottsacker.
They had the setup here this weekend, Greg. Both Barkey and Mantella very, very strong.
Meanwhile, you'll watch there, Heckert continues to lead, but that was about to change again in Blackrock.
Anthony Mantella dives to the inside, takes the lead away from Scott Heckert, and just drove away from this field.
There is your points leader, Brett Sandberg, trying to do something, gets down to the inside of Parker Chase, picks that spot up, and that puts him right on the tail of the guy he's racing in the points, Lawson Oschenbach.
Well, his car was not strong during the opening laps, but suddenly he found the sweet spot there. A very aggressive move and gets the job done.
Vesko Kozarov, a local driver, he's been very fast here. However, a new car, heating issues, and he was done. And for Tony Gaples, had to pull off with a drive belt issue. He'd be able to get back into it.
Well, that caused the yellow, and that tightened everything back up, so Mantella leads them back to green. But watch this, he stacks everyone up. Almost contact there between the top 4, and then they accelerate to the green.
And that really killed Scott Heckert's momentum in that red Sin R1. Mantella up front. You can see Heckert right there, had to give everything, but Sandberg up into 3rd. Turn into turn 3. Harry just gets alongside, giving him the preferred line into Blackrock.
Now comes our championship leader, Brett Sandberg, goes to the inside, but Mantella fights him hard. He goes around the outside of the hairpin and manages to hang on to that 2nd spot.
Huge move here by Mantella, saying it's over.
It's a power move. He dives to the inside, leaves him braking incredibly late, but look how the grip is in that car. Just holds his line and takes off. Lawson-Archenbach is fading in this field as we see contact between he and Martin Barkey. Barkey's day would be done.
Got in some marbles, and the car ended up skating under braking and got right into the back of Archenbach. And then Nate Stacey, who had a great run going, Cal, his day was done.
Diff problem, spun a rear axle. Shame for that guy. He's been very strong at the points, and then it's happening everywhere. Harry Gottsacker is off the road.
Anthony Mantella, what a race, gets his first ever professional win. The former snowcrosser, big celebrations by the crew. So that was round 14. Round 15 lies ahead, but before that unfolds, development's always after that first round of the doubleheader. So let's find out about it from the third member of our broadcast team, Jeff Lepper.
Thanks, Greg. Scott Dolehite in his Lotus Evora had a brake bias problem, a lot of rear brake, really bad handling on that car, as well as hitting these bumps. He got offline and the oil cap popped off, so he had a problem in that race yesterday that got both of those fixed. Nate Stacey running fourth place in his Ford Mustang boss from Roush Racing and Core Motorsports. Blew the rear diff out of the back of his car. They got the entire spare rear end out of Jack Roush's Mustang, who's not competing here this weekend. And Vesko Kozrov, the local favorite from CA Sport, in his fast Nissan 370Z, overheating problems yesterday. They lost the motor. He will not make the start today.
Well, thanks very much, Jeff. And now it's time, folks, for us to go to our Porsche race analysis. 3 miles just to tick over the fast outer course, which is 15 turns. And, of course, elevation, Cal, and that's going to play a role.
Well, particularly down that front straightaway, Greg. We saw really tight times in qualifying, but there'll be an ebb and flow to this race as well in terms of some guys having straightaway speed, big advantage there, but then there's a lot of corners here as well.
And those corners are challenging. It's time for you to get an up-close and personal look at them with our Porsche Track Preview on board. Pat Long.
Welcome to the Utah Motorsport Campus. I'm Patrick Long, driver of the 58 Wright Motorsports GT3R, and this is your Porsche Track Preview with Replay XD. Down the front straightaway, very picturesque, beautiful skyline, long, wide straightaway, hard braking down into turn 1, about the 2 board. It's a late apex, use all the racetrack on the exit. It's a third gear corner, about 80 miles an hour. Now you're into a rhythm section of a right, left, right, very quick, fun section. Really trying to blend, keeping that minimum speed up, but hitting your marks perfectly and carrying as much momentum as you can. A little bit of a short shoot into the hardest brake zone. Turn 5, second gear, good overtaking opportunity here. Wide exit, it sort of opens up as you accelerate, so you open the steering wheel, hustle the car back over left for turn 6. I like to do a late apex, some people do a double apex diamond. The key is that you get a good exit here and use all the racetrack for another long straightaway heading into a very quick turn 7. Fourth gear, not even a full lift, carrying all the speed but a decreasing radius, and you're approaching a very tight attitudes chicane section, as you see, using all of the road and all of the curbs. They're quite flat, so you can get a GT car up on top of them. Turn 11, Tuella turn in early, pick up the throttle, use all of the extended curb on the exit. That corner, you could really squeeze every little tenth out. Into the last section, this is a very tight section. Really have to blend patience and traction. Turn 14 and now approaching the final corner, turn 15. As much banking here as any corner on the track. Key is good exits for the long straightaways. That's one lap here in Tuella, Utah. Great to be back. Excellent place to run at.
Boy, I'll tell you, that is one fun ride in the desert, isn't it, folks? Absolutely amazing. Now, one of the interesting things, Cal, we talked about that 3,500-foot front straight. I don't know that we've got much of a longer run anywhere on the schedule into our stop tech braking zone.
Well, it's a huge run, 3/4 of a mile down this front straightaway into our stop tech brake zone. Drivers will have a chance to think about going on the attack, but also the guy in front thinking about defending that position, try to squeeze that guy down to the inside. We're in the desert, it's dusty on the outside. There's a very good chance for a repass on the exit of turn 1.
Well, and again, it's not just that front straight, Cal, into the stop tech braking zone. It's the elevation. It's everything that comes into play here. The interesting thing is this class has turbos, has normally aspirated cars. How does that affect these cars? Well, Jeff Lepper went to find out with our Tech Spotlight.
Does it help having turbocharged engines versus the normally aspirated?
Well, the turbocharger poses its own unique challenges for us as tuners. We have to properly measure and monitor the amount of oxygen going in so we can get the correct air-fuel ratio coming out. The second part of the challenge for us is that the series, from event to event, will issue what's called a barometric pressure reference. That reference is designed to balance the performance between the naturally aspirated cars and the cars that run forced induction. We have to then go back into our calibration and adapt for that reference so that our output meets our requirements for the air-fuel mixture, which we found works well on the dyno, and staying legal with what the series limits are.
What are some of the stuff when you come to altitude that you might watch or monitor that would be different than when we're at sea level racing a normally aspirated car?
Well, with the thin air here, we always get a little hotter, and the car always runs a little hotter. The problem with that is it knocks timing out the car, which knocks horsepower out the car, and that's where we suffer when we're at altitude. The only thing we can do is try and get better cooling, but it's difficult because all the parts have been homologated, so that's the biggest struggle for us when we come here.
Well, it's always a battle for turbo to normally aspirated, especially when we come to Utah Motorsports Campus.
Well, as always, Racing at Elevation presents some interesting changes. But now it's time for our Motul GTS Pole Award, and it goes to our pole sitter setting fast lap in yesterday's race. And no question about it, it was Anthony Mantella in the Gulf KTM Crossbow at a 1:58.504, and he is with Jeff Lepper on the grid.
Well, Anthony Mantella, our pole sitter today, emotional victory yesterday, but the key there, the fastest race lap.
Absolutely. Car was great. You're just smooth and steady and consistent, trying not to spin the tires and getting to full throttle on every apex, and that's what did it. You know, just not being in traffic and staying clean. That's what provided me the fastest race lap.
What a day Mantella had, and today it's a standing start, but if there is a restart, they're going to be in that VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone. And Cal, tell us how that works.
On starts and restarts, as the pace car exits the track, the field enters the VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone. The lead car will be responsible for maintaining a speed from 50 to 55 miles per hour, and at the starter's discretion, the green flag will come out and everyone will unleash their VP Racing fuel.
All right, thanks very much, Cal. Always a crucial area on the racetrack, but now it's time for us to get the race going. And for that, let's get it down to the front of the grid with Jeff Lepper for that command, Orazio Mastracchio of Pirelli.
From our partners, EnergySolutions, Optima Batteries, and Pirelli, drivers, start your engines.
In a season of tremendous change for the GTS class, the variety of engine notes comes to life here, and it has produced some fabulous racing, and we're looking forward to this one unfolding here as well. The 15th round of the GTS Championship at Cal. As this field rolls off, the big story is up at the front. In terms of race pace, 3 crossbows will start up front.
They were stunning here yesterday, and what a brilliant first Pirelli World Challenge victory for Anthony Mantella. He drove like a professional driver yesterday in terms of grabbing the lead, increasing the lead, and just really managing his tires very well. He then had pressure from this man, Brett Sandberg, towards the end of the event and didn't put a foot wrong. Just a great day for him.
Yeah, and got a big gap built in the points. The reason is that Lawson Aschenbach finished in the 7th spot. He will start 11th, so he's got some work to do. And as always, we just want to acknowledge Cadillac and the ATSV pace car that is going to be leading this field out on the installation lap. Remember, second round of these doubleheaders for GTS. It will be a standing start. Also, take a quick look at our Cadillac Escalade. Want to say again a big thanks to Cadillac for their help with everything that they do. So looking forward to getting this one underway, and we will do that when we come back to Utah Motorsports Campus.
The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is brought to you by Pirelli. Power is nothing without control. By BRM. And by the Cadillac V-Series, the first ever 455 horsepower 2016 ATS-V Coupe and Sedan, and the all-new 640 horsepower CTS-V Super Sedan. The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is brought to you by Motul, official lubricant of the Pirelli World Challenge. By VP Racing Fuels, our passion is your performance. And by Porsche, there is no substitute.
And the field coming around now to set up on that long 3,500-foot front straight and get ready for the standing start here at Utah Motorsports Campus. And get ready for this one. And as always, Cal, these standing starts, they just throw in that little bit of an unknown here.
They really do, and we've seen guys get really clean starts for most of the year, but if we reflect back to Mid-Ohio in the last round of the championship, what carnage we saw there with the front row getting away slowly. Jeff Courtney was involved, Jay Buford, who's not taking part this weekend, so let's hope it's a much wider front straightaway here.
And now let's take a quick look at our Kia Quad Box with the remarkable images from our Replay XD cameras. They offer such an insight as to what's going on during these races. We're looking forward to seeing a lot of these great shots here as this field now has taken its position. Front part of the field is in position. Oh, Anthony now just getting that car right up on the marks. The rest of the field looking in place, and of course watch for that green flag at the back that just indicates that the grid is clear. And after that, the wheel and lights will go on. When they go off, round 15 of this championship will commence, and there's the green flag. So we are getting seriously into the final rounds of this championship and the championship chase. And right now, a standing start could play a key role. Watch for those wheel and lights. They're on. And we are about to go racing at Utah Motorsports Campus. We are green, and Mantella stalls it. Sandberg gets away. Barkey stalled it behind him as well. Both of the Mantella cars dead in the water, Cal.
Yeah, that was not what we wanted to see. I think Barkey reacted to Mantella there, who went, he launched, and then just got bogged down, stalls the engine. They've got to get in recovery mode. Great move here for Brett Sandberg. Lawson Archenbach trying to make some moves as well early.
And look at Nate Stacy down to the inside of Heckert, trying to take over that second spot. Heckert's got the spot, though, Cal, in terms of position for this next corner.
Look at Dollarhide. He's up to fourth position as well. He's taking advantage with the slow start for the Mantella Autosport cars. Looks like Sparky's back underway, and there is Mantella in the background. They've got going, but a long way back.
Yeah, Dollarhide, they topped one session, then they were way at the back dealing with issues. It's been a roller coaster ride for them. And if the car stays good, we know that car's speed, we know the driver's pace. But look at Nate Stacy trying to get underneath Heckert.
Well, Heckert's trying to make a move. Sandberg there was being quite defensive down in the Black Rock hairpin. He says his car just takes a long time to come alive. He said he just have a lot of understeer in the opening laps. We saw very slow progress for him yesterday, but in the late stages, he was basically the fastest man on the racetrack at times.
And you could see Heckert right there trying to do the over-under and set up. Ooh, that was Clennon dropping a tire.
Yeah, really wide there as Archenbach is trying to make some moves through this field.
Well, he's got to, because he's seeing Sandberg up front, but he knows opportunity with those two Mantella cars struggling.
So that Gottsacker down the inside of Dollarhide makes the move. Dollarhide takes over those curbs. You're allowed to do that in terms of track limits. This weekend, you can use all of those curbs there in the attitudes.
Problem is, it just rattles the car to pieces if you do it too often, doesn't it?
It does. You really need to set the car up for those, so you need to practice that during the practice sessions and in qualifying. Make sure it's okay to do it on a regular basis.
So behind Dollarhide, those two Ginettas running line astern. The gray-hued one is, of course, Gottsacker. The more orange one is third in the points, Parker Chase. And they've got pressure right behind them. Four-time champion Lawson Archenbach. And onto this front straight we go. This will show us exactly who's got legs as opposed to who's quick in the downforce corners.
This is like a dyno here, showcasing what the engine power is like. Obviously, drag and aerodynamic efficiency comes into play as well. Sandberg there choosing the inside line. He's perfectly entitled to do that. Stacy dives it down to the inside. He's trying to use a pick there. Has to give it up.
Side, and Heckert's got position if he can hang on to it.
He does. He's going to get it. He's got the inside line for that right-hander. Very nice move. Great driving there by Scott Heckert. Continue to be impressed by his driving skills.
And Stacy showing a little bit of class there. He could have tried to stuff it in underneath Sandberg as well, and it would have ended with contact. He just checked up a little bit, and that's given Dollarhide a run. Dollarhide might be able to do something, and Stacy reads it. Sandberg thinks Stacy's coming as well, and Stacy down to the inside. He's got it, I think, Cal.
Yeah, that was a nice move there. He's got to get that position early. He's got to get alongside and basically take away the line. Dollarhide now underneath Sandberg. He's trying to make a move as they go into the right-hander. He's on the wrong side of the road. Can he make it stick?
He's just got to park it out there, see what happens, working around the outside. And Dollarhide's there now. The thing is, can Sandberg get a little bit better run off the corner? He can't. He has to give it up because I think he also had the Gottsacker. Ginetta was attacking on Sandberg as well.
Well, again, we're seeing Sandberg struggle here in the opening laps. He just can't get those front tires to come to life in terms of the temperature. So something probably with the setup, because obviously the other crossbows yesterday were very fast in the opening lap. So, but Brett Sandberg is looking at the long green flag run here today to try and get back into the big points.
And Dullahite right there, by the way, is our best standing start, our Optima Best Standing Start Award winner, up 5 spots in the opening lap. Pretty impressive stuff. And now, Cal, let's take another look at that pass for the lead that Heckert laid on. It was a beauty.
It was. Look, watch Nate Stacey. He tries to go with him, but Heckert's got it all set up. He's on the clean side of the racetrack. Brett Sandberg defending down the inside. There's Dusty down there. You're not going to get the grip. And just good, clean racing. He gives Heckert the outside lane. Doesn't take it away. There's no touch. Just a good, clean pass.
That put him into the lead, which he holds right now, with Nate Stacey settling into second and Scott Dullahite up into third. We'll be right back with a lot more GTS racing, Pirelli World Challenge style, from Utah Motorsports Campus. Back at Utah Motorsports Campus, and Scott Heckert in the Sin R1 from Racer's Edge, Cal, continues to draw away the margin up to a 2.5 seconds over Nate Stacey, who's opened up a little bit of a margin over Scott Dullahite, but behind him, it's intense.
It is really intense. The top three have all run lap times within 0.05 of one another. At 58.6 is 158.65 for Scott Heckert, but the fastest lap right now is Scott Dullahite at a 58.60, but it's very tight right there.
As they're working through the first couple of corners here, we're going to go take a look again, Cal, at the start and how that unfolded. And again, that standing start caught out the two Mantella cars.
Yeah, I did. I think certainly Barkey responded to his teammate right in front who launched, then bogged down, stalls. Everyone gets around them cleanly. Fortunately, it's so wide here on this front straightaway, you can take evasive action. And there you see in slow-mo Lawson Archenbach trying to make some moves as well early.
Dropping those left sides, trying to figure out a way to get around that car of Dullahite in front of him, but just couldn't find the room to make it happen. So he's back in 7th at this stage, and we're always keeping an eye on Lawson and Brett Sandberg because they're the two main points protagonists here. And Lawson, again, still has a little bit of work to do here, but Scott Heckert looking very strong, and it's that really that lead group here of two have eased away just a little bit. Now Dullahite's been able to just open a slight gap back to Brett Sandberg.
And again, look there, Lawson Archenbach just all over those curbs. You can see him easily cuts into that gap that Harry Gottsacker has on him. It's just a huge advantage to have if your suspension is that compliant. We've seen Stacey do it as well. He doesn't do it on every lap. He may be worried about damage to the underbody of that chassis.
And as we zoom in here a little bit on Lawson Archenbach, he's carrying our iBox suspension cam, Cal, and that had better be a pretty sturdy group of suspension components from iBox here to handle these curbs.
Yeah, it really does take a workout around this racetrack, and Lawson Archenbach is trying to shortcut everywhere he can, but still be within the track limit regulations, which have been extended a little bit this weekend in terms of what the stewards are allowing the guys to do. Essentially, as long as you're not all four wheels completely over the curb, they're letting you use it, and that's why it's such a huge advantage in the attitudes there with that big, wide middle curbing.
Oh, big move here by Parker Chase. It just wasn't quite close enough to be able to stick it all the way down the inside and make it stick, but he is certainly looking racy, as he always does here, but he had to give it up right at the turn-in point. And just check out behind these guys, behind Lawson Archenbach. We'll see it in just a minute here as well. A great battle unfolding between Riddle and Clennon, but this is such compelling stuff as well. And Dullahite, it's like he just suddenly found something, Cal. He just ran down Nate Stacey.
He did, and I think he's going to be trying to make some moves here pretty shortly. That Lotus is a great handling car. As you said, they have had a few niggling problems this year, which has really cost them a few podium finishes, maybe even a win at certain times. But Scott's a great young driver. It's a nice little team. They work extremely hard. Came back from that huge wreck at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, and were very effective immediately just a week later at Lime Rock Park.
Dullahite will continue that attack. Parker Chase will continue the attack on Brett Sandberg back there in that battle for 4th, as they've been able to find a little bit of breathing room over Harry Gottsacker, who also has found some room on Lawson Archenbach. But up front, Scott Heckert continuing to lead the way, doing an absolutely superb job over a great battle for second between Nate Stacey and Scott Dullahite. We'll be right back with more from Utah.
The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is brought to you by Nissan, innovation that excites. And by the Bob Bondurant School of High Performance Driving, official driving school of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships. The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by Ford. Go further. By Replay XD. Life's in HD. Replay it. And by Optima Batteries, the ultimate power source.
Utah Motorsports Campus, round 15 of the Pirelli World Challenge GTS Championship. And Scott Heckert in the Sin R1 has opened that margin up to 5 seconds. However, Cal, it is over a new second place runner, the Lotus of Scott Dullahite. And let's go back and take a look at not just the pass, but how hard Dullahite had to work to keep the pass once they got up into the attitudes.
Look at that, around the outside of that right-hander and just gets good acceleration. Nate comes back at him. It's not over yet. Stacy has good mid straightaway acceleration and power, but Dullahite clears him and he's on his way.
Now watch this. Cut to this shot coming through the attitudes, and look at Dullahite as he comes through here. That car was just sideways, and he had gathered it up, was able to bring it back in and hold on to it, and he is through. And let's go take a look at that pass that Sandberg was able to put on Nate Stacy here, Cal.
Yeah, after the Black Rock hairpin, he just tucks it to the inside and eventually makes it stick on the exit of there. You see Stacy there runs a little bit wide, and Sandberg is able to clear him. Valuable points.
Oh, but look at this now. He's under attack now, Stacy is, from Gottsacker.
Yeah, he's backpedaling here a little bit. Was very strong in the opening laps, but certainly right now, Nate Stacy's car does not look strong enough to defend.
It doesn't, and the two teammates in the Ginettas having their own little battle. Which one is going to be the first to get around that lime green machine of Stacy? And again, Sandberg, as he comes out of release down that long front straight, Cal, he's right with Dullahite. You can see Dullahite just opens it up a little bit here. And look at this. That was a near touch by the teammate.
Yeah, incredible stuff here. They had the Ginetta factory driver over here this weekend, Michael Simpson, doing some testing with them. Really showed in their pace here this weekend. The cars have been extremely quick, and a good little battle here between the two youngsters.
Working through turn 4. And then there's that little kind of a kink, which really is all 4 is, and then the setup here into Black Rock.
See Sandberg there keep poking his nose out early. He's not pulling the full draft. I wonder if he's just conscious of not overheating in terms of the cooling conditions here in this thin air. Ambient temperature is increasing as we go through this race now into the mid to high 80-degree range.
Well, it's not just the heat either, is it? It's that thin air, so you add those two together, and there's just not a lot of air moving through those radiators here.
Yeah, you see him constantly doing it, so it must be a factor, I would believe. If he's tucked up behind the other car in front of him, he's losing that air to the radiator inlets.
And last lap, by the way, for Heckert, a 59 flat. Sandberg turned a 59.2, which was the next quickest lap, and Dullahite at a 2 even here. So just an interesting accordion going on here in terms of where these cars are making their speed, and that's really been what this class, the story of this class has been all this year.
Yeah, Oschenbach is also still running 5:59s. Mantella's starting to find his form here today. Still sitting back in the 11th position has been the progress so far. He really needs a reset. He really needs a caution or something to happen to get him back to the leaders because he's got pace again.
Meanwhile, into release, leading onto that long straight. Here comes Sandberg up on the back of Dullahite. But as you can see, that dot up in the distance from that tails away shot we just had is the Sin of Scott Heckert, that Sin R1. And so the battle right now really is for second and for fourth. And again, Sandberg shows the nose, Cal. And you're right, you would think normally you'd stay in that draft as long as you can, and he apparently just can't.
Yeah, he doesn't want to do that. So good racecraft here in terms of doing the right things, thinking about the big picture, being conscious of everything, all of the information that the car and the team are giving you. He's really quick through there. Look at that. He just ate into the gap that Dullahite has on him.
And this is through turn 3, up through the kink. That is turn 4.
Yeah, he might start to think about it right here.
Absolutely. Let's see what happens. He shows that nose, but tucks back in as Dullahite reads it.
Yeah,
he's going to try the over-under.
Yeah, he may be just a bit too close to make that move stick. I think he had a bit more of a gap. He could have tucked it inside of Dullahite there on the exit. Definitely got more pace right now.
No, he's going to try the outside move, Cal. He's made that work before. It's all a matter of giving each other racing room, and oh, he just ran wide.
Yeah, and I tell you what, again, we're not at that 25-minute mark. I would definitely be conscious of that when you're this late into a season and you have a championship lead with the rules the way they are. You got to hit 50% to score any points. So if you're at the side of the road and you don't get to 25 minutes, you get 0 score. You don't get last place position.
All right, well, while this is settled for just a second, we're going to dip away for a moment, but we will be back as this battle for second with points implications is on. A tremendous battle is on for the 4th spot here. in this 15th round of the Pirelli World Challenge GTS Championship. Parker Chase and Lawson Aschenbach and Cal, they have been at each other's throats for a while here. Parker finally able to sneak his way through.
He did. It was a great pass there, and he immediately tried to go a little bit defensive, and that was in reaction to Lawson Aschenbach, so he's got to be careful with that. He'll certainly feel that Lawson has been taking some defensive lines. Look how close it gets when Lawson eats up that curb through the attitudes.
Now up into the Tuella turn. Very quick left-hander that leads them onto the short chute into the final two corners. And I would think your Lawson just wants to stay as close as he can to try and do something down this front straight, Cal.
In the background, Mantella has got around Gottsacker. So Mantella's up to the 7th position, our pole sitter.
All right, here we go. Wind up into release. There are those three cars continuing to battle. And so now he is going to start to work on Scott Dollahite. And for Scott Dollahite, of course, when we went to break, he was a lot farther up the order, Cal. But here's what happened, and it was a series of passes, wasn't it?
Yeah, just amazing racing between these two guys, giving each other some racing room. And finally, Brett Sandberg gets the move, but Dollahite comes back at him, got the pass done again by the end of the lap. But then Sandberg, just a man on the move. Stacy stuffs it down the inside. Dollahite's tires are probably a little bit dirty by running wide, and everyone's on the attack.
And then you can see Gottsacker looks underneath, and then watch this move here as those two guys come through and got completely wide.
Nice save there.
Yeah.
Aschenbach takes advantage of the situation. Then Gottsacker deep on the brakes into the attitudes, has to slow it down, gets it a bit wrong. Quick spin. His teammate goes for a ride as well. Watch this. Parker Chase has to take evasive action. Big benefactor there is Lawson Aschenbach.
You know, Hecker, we know that car's got pace. We've seen him come through the pack so many times during the course of the year. And Jeff Lepper, John Meraki must be grinning with what his young charge is doing.
John Meraki, big grin on your face. When does it come to a point where it starts conservation maybe a little bit for Hecker?
Well, right now he's just running a steady pace. We're not the fastest car on the track, but we're right about the fastest, so we're just sitting tight, just holding that pace. He's comfortable at that pace. So you know from your own racing, Jeff, sometimes if you ask the guys to back off, that's when they make mistakes. So we're just keeping him comfortable at the pace he's running at.
Well, a lot of smiles down here at Racer's Edge.
Yeah, it's just been a great day for that team and for this driver. And, you know, coming from a background that's actually oval-based, he got onto the road courses and won and liked it and said, I want to pursue this. Ended up eventually getting together with John, and they put this program together. And, boy, is this series lucky for that.
This is a great battle. I think Anthony needs to be a little bit closer. That's where he's really quick through that corner. Really rolls a lot of speed through the apex. Now he's just got to tuck it close. Got to be close here. Dollahite drops the wheel. Doesn't lose any ground. How aggressive with Anthony Bede here down into the brake zone.
And here comes Gottsacker trying to get back. Oh, and he does it again. Contact just gets into the nose as he comes across. Yep.
He's just got too much rear brake bias, it looks like, when he tries to really run in there deep. He's just planting the front end and loses the rear.
Let's watch it again here, Cal.
Takes it in incredibly deep, just like he did to the attitudes, and he's just losing the rear end. Slight bump there, probably not major damage to Mantella, but stymies his progress. Dollahite's involved.
Oh boy, and as we're closing in on the finish here, we have a full course caution has just been called. So while we have a second, want to remind you, if you want to be up to date on what's going on with the Pirelli World Challenge in between the events, well, just do it through social media. The first place to go is the Pirelli World Challenge website at world-challenge.com. Great video content there, including links to all the live webcasts. You can, of course, check it out at Facebook. Just search the Pirelli World Challenge fan page. Or on Twitter, just look for the handle at WC Racing. And for all things racing, always take a moment and check out Motor Trend On Demand, which includes the archives of the Pirelli World Challenge races. And you can start your free trial at motortrendondemand.com today. Nope, and that's it. Day over, and looks like
he's obviously feeling something that's a lot more serious than the crew are able to observe there, just taking a quick glance at it.
All right, and what's the update on Gottsacker, Jeff?
Well, Harry, definitely a heartbreaking end to a good race weekend for this Janetta and your team.
Yeah, I just made a mistake. Totally my fault. I thought I could break with the KTM, but just couldn't do it. I just wasn't there. Locked up all four, slid into Scott. I just want to say sorry to Scott. This 100% my fault. But we've had a great weekend so far. I just want to thank PMG, Godspeed Racing, Explorer RV for all their help, and just got to move on.
Well, Greg and Cal, definitely nice young man here taking responsibility for what happened. Just a mistake.
Frustration, and there was an awful lot of optimism for this team here, and this is a tough way for it to end for young Harry Gottsacker. Jeff, what's the word from the Lotus pit?
Well, damage to the left rear of that Lotus of Scott Dollahite. That's the biggest problem. The other problem, they can't get the car refired because they're still having those electrical shifting gremlins that plagued them earlier on the season with the steering wheel.
Oh, boy, so it's possible the car's drivable and even raceable, but he can't get it going, Cal. That'll frustrate you.
It's just such a disappointing end to this run.
So as we sit under caution, we're going to step away. Hopefully we'll be back in time to get some green flag racing to the finish.
The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is brought to you by KTM Crossbow. By Borla, we build excitement. And by Kia Motors. Visit kia.com to learn more. The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is brought to you by Eibach, the world leader in high-performance suspension. By Maserati. And by AFE Power. Advanced engineering, proven performance.
Well, welcome back, everybody, and our Muck Daddy cleanup happening in very quick fashion. Dollahite's car up on the back of the flatbed, and they're going to be able to exit the track. You see the pace car is in. A remarkably quick cleanup. We are back to racing, and Cal Lawson-Aschenbach senses opportunity, moves to the inside as Heckert checks out.
Max Riddle there, an amazing restart. He gets inside of Anthony Mantella and splits the gap. What a move by Riddle.
Riddle starting that restart in the 6th spot after the caution. He's going to be much farther up the order as we get down into turn 1. And there we go. He has made it all the way up to 4th, Cal.
What a restart, perfectly timed. Can he do any more? Can he get on the podium? This is a brilliant last gasp run for a podium finish here for Max Riddle. Aschenbach is trying to come back at him. There you see Parker Chase. Mantella has been dropped a little bit here on the restart. He had the same problem yesterday, just getting those tires cleaned off.
In terms of timing, we will be white flag next time by. And look at Stacy taking a run at Sandberg, and Aschenbach is urging him on.
Sandberg has a quicker car to roll speed through, but Stacy took away the track position. Look at Aschenbach trying to get inside of Riddle.
Couldn't do it, and here comes Parker Chase.
Chase to the inside of Aschenbach. They go side by side. They call this corner knockout. Hopefully it won't be just that.
Yeah, don't be too literal here, guys. And look at this. Mantella showing his nose. He's not up close enough, but he got underneath Parker Chase.
This is going to be tight there right at apex. Couldn't quite get the move done, but he's inside of Aschenbach. This has hurt Aschenbach in terms of this restart.
It certainly has.
But look at that, Nate Stacy, how much he gaps the field by climbing over that curb. That's an amazing advantage to have.
And Aschenbach using the curb as well. Got a nose underneath Mantella. Did he make it stick? He did.
What a move.
Ooh, and then a big lurid slide. Aschenbach absolutely on the limit, but he understands what's at stake here. And now Barkey shows the nose to his teammate Mantella into wind up and release.
Aschenbach fighting for his championship life right now. Every position, every point is so crucial.
And here we go, this great shot. That is released, launching. Look at the lead that Heckert has already built up. And then you've got Stacy, then Sandberg, but then this battling going on. And again, Aschenbach, monster defense mode as we start our last lap.
This is going to be fascinating here. Sandberg, can he catch back up to Nate Stacy? It seems like that car did not come alive again. Riddle is showing really impressive pace here after this restart. Mantella, can he make a move on Lawson-Aschenbach and repay the favor here on the final lap?
Well, they're into the part of the track where those KTMs live and rule here, it seems. Look at Lawson just throwing the car around, trying to hang on, and watch this exit out of turn 4, that little kink. I'll venture he's going to be way tight to the inside again.
Absolutely, there he goes. I think he compromises a little bit of speed, but he's got that track position to defend down into the hairpin.
Riddle had to do the same on Parker Chase, but Mantella's ramping the outside.
He's probably going to make it stick. Aschenbach tries to swing out wide. Yes, he does. He takes the line away from him to perfectly legit. Oh, Mantella stuffs it to the inside. What a move. Moves him aside. Can Barkey take advantage? Yes, he does.
Oh, and a touch.
Teammates touch.
Unbelievable, and Barkey's through on both.
I think Mantella made that move and then ran out wide, got in the dirt, couldn't make it stick. A little bump for his teammate. Aschenbach takes the position back.
Oh, man, unbelievable stuff what we're seeing. You're on Lawson completely sideways, trying to salvage anything he can.
He's trying to hang on here. He's trying to get a run on Barkey. Just a few corners left. Hecker up front, looks comfortable. Great run for Nate Stacey here. Championship leader Sandberg in third.
Lawson looking. No, not there. This is it. Last couple of corners for this 15th round of the championship. Heckert, he's just being nice and smooth, hitting his marks, rolling onto the throttle in that Racer's Edge Sin R1. And Scott Heckert comes through and takes the win. Stacey second, point leader Sandberg into third. And Aschenbach does not let Mantella get around him, so he salvages something, but it's way back in seventh, Cal.
Wow, what a run by Scott Hecker. He basically cut and pasted what Anthony Mantella did here yesterday. A dominant performance for Racer's Edge.
His first win of the season. What a remarkable story for Scott Heckert.
That was fantastic stuff. Withstood the pressure, never put a foot wrong today.
And so Heckert with the win. Nate Stacey, what a remarkable run by another young gun. And Brett Sandberg, your point leader, maximizing some points on the man he's battling with. We'll be right back to hear from our winner.
The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by TireRack.com, revolutionizing tire buying since 1979. And by Motor Trend On Demand. Visit MotorTrendOnDemand.com. Start your free trial today.
Well, a race that for a while looked like it was going to be, at least in terms of the battle up front, pretty serene. With that late caution, it really got turned on its ear. And in the end, though, the guy who'd led almost the entire race, Scott Heckert, ends up with his first win in Pirelli World Challenge competition. He's with Jeff.
Well, Scott Heckert, your first win in Pirelli World Challenge competition. Little redemption after Barber.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of think this is coming a little bit. We've had fast cars. Look at Road America. We fought back from really far back, and then I guess it was Mid-Ohio. We qualified on pole and had to, start from the back there and fought forward. So we've had pace, just had to, qualify up front and stay there.
Now, how big is that for this team as well, being one car down?
Yeah, I mean, we're all bummed that what happened in Mid-Ohio, and it's racing, I guess, to some degree, but. To come back here and get a win without that car here is definitely redemption.
And like Greg Creamer said earlier, 4 wins for the Sin R1 here this season.
All right, thanks very much, Jeff. And as we take a look here at our GTS Drivers' Championship points, well, Sandberg stretches it out.
Yes, he does with another podium run here today. He increases the lead over Lawson Aschenbach. Chase and Stacey very much in the mix, but it's now over 60 points over Lawson Aschenbach. That is big.
That is huge. And now let's take a look at what was a huge move for our Cadillac ATSV move of the race. Martin Barkey, a double opportunistic pass.
Yes, it was really good. You could see there his teammate Anthony Mantella went to the inside of Lawson Aschenbach, runs a little bit wide. Barkey dives to the inside, bumps his teammate. A great double pass there.
Laid it out there. Now, Cal, let's take a look at our GTS manufacturers' points. Always a hugely important championship.
Well, KTM continued to lead, but it's got very close with Stacey's podium run between Chevy and Ford.
And our key at turning point, I don't think there's any question, it's the stall at the start, because who knows what Mantella would have just maybe checked out.
Well, he was so dominant here yesterday. He was very confident going into the race, but the stall there, his teammate getting affected as well, that certainly turned the tide.
And our VP Racing Fuels Hard Charger Award, especially with that restart move, Max Riddle up 8 spots over the course of the race in the 07 Racers Group Aston Martin. Nicely done. Motul fast lap, little solace for the wounds today, the number 46 Lotus of Scott Dollahite. Well, we wrap things up here, Cal. The next round of the championship, just the level of tracks this series goes to, Sonoma.
Well, there are no bad ones. Certainly Sonoma's great. We finish up the season at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. Lots of action to come.
We are looking forward to that unfolding. We surely hope you will join us from that great racetrack as well. But meanwhile, so long from another one, Utah Motorsports Campus. For Cal, Jeff, and our entire CBS Sports Network crew, I'm Greg Creamer in association with WC Vision. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.